A really nice story actually to share with you about yesterday when I was in work. So as you know, I'm a youth worker at the minute, and on Tuesdays we work with a different group than what we normally are. So we're in Gorey Main Street for most of the week, but on Tuesdays I go out into the countryside near the Wexford Wicklow border, and mostly boys in the group that I do in Gorey, and then out there it's mostly girls. There's literally 17 girls, one boy yesterday. And I was talking about, the statistics around young men not doing very well from 15 to 25. And sometimes you think, am I actually making a difference, or am I doing anything? And yesterday was a good reminder that I am. So like, these kids would be 11, 12, at the most. So they're getting up to that worrying age, especially for young lads. And you want to set them up for a good mental health. And this young lad, it kind of looked like at first, if you weren't paying attention, that he was just being a pain in the hole. But when you look at it closely, a lot of the girls, because he's the only fella, he's an easy target, they're sneaky, they know how to get away with it. And I saw him getting angry 2 weeks ago. But we were making pancakes, and I was like, I'll do the pancake mix. So I did that. My mum would have been proud in the end. It turned out pretty well. She taught me. But he just said, would you like a hand? And the other worker that I'm with is she's an older woman, she's a daughter older than me, so not to disrespect, but she's a good bit older than me. And I think normally the assumption's made, he'll be hogging the ingredients for himself, because we're going to get all of them in to make pancakes. He asked could he help, and he said my mum worked in a restaurant and a deli, and I said, oh okay, yeah, no bother. So I was like, what would you like to do? And he said, will I put them on the pan? It was actually a machine that we had. I was like, yeah, I'll make the mixture and you put them on the pan, make sure they're okay. He was like, yeah, no bother. And he was great, did a great job. The other worker I was working with, she was doing a dominoes game with them, the girls. She said they were a nightmare, and also like very demanding. Like they're only 11 or 12, and they're looking at them like some of the pancakes were a bit thinner than others. They were kind of more crepey, not crappy, but crepey, because we ran out of batter, and we were there doing all the hard work. And they're, oh, I don't want that, or I want this, and you would think, I know it's a stereotype, and you hear some, misogynistic pricks going to women's places in the kitchen. I don't believe that's right, but an 11-year-old young fella and me, we were the ones doing all the cooking, And he was great, he was good as gold. We were having a chat, we were having a catch up. I asked if he was okay staying in the kitchen. He said, yeah, absolutely fine, no problem. He was delighted with himself, and I was delighted with him. I thought it was very good, and I was very impressed. And I think it's a nice story, because young fellas are getting a lot of shit. They're getting a bad rep, and I don't think it's justified. He was fine. He was actually saying, can we please close the doors, because the young girls were the ones causing all the trouble. So there you go. And don't get me wrong, in the Mondays group we have there young fellas there that do cause trouble. Absolutely. There's one fella and his cousin, and they get into a lot of trouble, but the girls are just sneakier, they're better at getting away with it. But that young fella was great, a great help. We were working well as a team, and I got to know him a bit better. So there's a nice little story for Wednesday.